Roll show that the alternate, Mr. Knight, is filling in for Gary Eucalito, who can't be here. Kristen is here, and I am here. Ronnie can't be here, and we welcome tonight a new member, Dr. Buchanan, who is representing the administrators. So Sue DePritis will be here later, and otherwise we can start, and Marissa, you'll take note of everyone else who's here, please. And I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have an agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
We have minutes. Is there anyone, Josh, I don't think anyone public is around, so we don't have to read the spiel. Okay, so then we will start with discussion and next steps. We are at Southwest School tonight. Kristen and I had the opportunity to take a walk through the school on Monday. Kristen, would you like to characterize our visit, please?
Sure, yeah, I mean, it was great. Thank you to Dr. Buchanan for showing us around. We had a chance to meet some really great kids and hand out some awards, which was really nice to see the kids excited for that. We had the opportunity to go into a few classrooms, see the kids interacting and learning and reading, and it was just a lot of fun.
Thank you. And now I guess it's time for our Southwest School report.
Okay, thank you. So I've asked Michelle Nadolny and Jennifer Martin, they are numeracy and literacy coaches, to join me this evening. We have a brief slideshow presentation, and I'll give you the Reader's Digest condensed version of everything great that's happening at Southwest School. So Josh is going to pull up the presentation. You can see some of our lovely students on half day. They're adorable. So. What we want to do is start with a little bit of our testing data. Yeah. More kids sitting around the classroom doing their works and projects and things like that. So we have some candidates there. I believe math is up first.
Okay, so this is our fall and winter STAR data. We give it 3 times a year, fall, winter, and spring. This is for grade 4 math. In the fall, 44% of our 4th graders were at benchmark for math. And as you can see, in the winter, it moved up to 58%. So we are making good progress there. And then our urgent intervention are students who are really in need of support. That dropped from 19% in the fall to 16% in the winter. Oh, this is math grade 5. And we're moving in the right direction in grade 5 as well. We started a little bit higher in grade 5 at 54% of students reaching benchmark, and we are up to 58%. A lot of times we see a little bit of a dip in the winter. We're not seeing that this year. We're on the right track and making progress. So this is our ELA grade 4 data, and you'll see at the beginning of the year in fall, we're at 37% at or above benchmark. Winter data, we went up to 52% at grade 4, so making great progress there, including with the implementation of our new benchmark program. And our grade 5, you'll notice we started at 46%, winter at 45%. Again, this too, we've talked about the implementation dip and the potential of there being a dip, and there's not. We are staying consistent. We know that there are some larger gaps in 5th grade that we are backfilling at this time. So we are remaining consistent, but we're hoping that obviously in the spring that number will increase, like we saw with the 4th grade.
Jen, just want to interject one thing. So our 5th grade students would be those children who did not benefit when we originally shifted to a different instructional delivery model, because we started it in what, 2nd grade, Andrew, right? So that would be, everybody get that? So they didn't have the benefit of having the shift when we made it at a grassroots level before we adopted the new program.
So some of our academic strategies that we're using, we facilitate our data team meetings, we provide instructional coaching, we have weekly grade level meetings where we're reviewing students' work.
literacy and numeracy intervention, which is 22% of our student population.
Implementation of IEP with Fidelity, that's 21% of our student population. Implementation of 504 plan with Fidelity, 11% of our student population. We have student success team meetings, our new benchmark program implementation, literacy how instructional strategies, and also peer observations.
So there's a lot happening all at the same time, just like most of our other schools. So it's a team that really works together on this, couldn't do without the team. Here's some more candidates of some activities. On the right, you'll see our mystery dragon greeter. We do doing that as well as having to be our mystery dragon at assemblies. So when they arrive in the morning, they get to greet their peers, and we announce in the morning announcements who our mystery dragon greeter was that morning. We do it randomly here and there. Here's our ukulele class on the left. So that's a new introduction of an instrument this year. So they're enjoying that. Next one. Some more, all right, they love the conga line at recess, I guess. I guess we're preparing them for some dancing. And then here's some more academic pictures of the kids in classes doing their projects with their peers, cooperative projects. On the left, you see Effie and Gonza from Our Culture is Beautiful. We started that program, and they're gonna come once a month to each of our classrooms. They'll be here again tomorrow morning. And then on the right is one of our spirit days where we decided we're going to have a snowstorm indoors, so everybody dressed in white that day. So that was one of our fun spirit days back in December. Here's our, all right, Jen's dad is on the right. We got to give him credit. So this is our student council, our pet food drive. We brought in a lot of items for the food bank. And then they came and picked it up. Our kids also got to build an animal or pet out of the pet food items that were contributed. But we wanted them to be part of packing it up and getting it on the van. And they came up with the idea, and we supported it. On the left, you see our vocational class, which is our voices and our DLC students. This is every Friday, the Dragon Wagon, where they sell goodies and treats to our staff, and they're learning the money exchange and how to be do well with customer service skills. It's a lot of fun. You can see one of them who's just so happy I pulled the camera out because she's got to smile every chance the camera comes out. And the other two pictures, you see our students performing their ukulele song at our assembly last week. So they've been practicing it, and then we showcase student work winning performances, so they love performing in front of their peers. And all the kids are singing along, isn't this? All right, yes, that's Mrs. Doubtfire on the left. That's me getting pied at the assembly last week. I do look just like Mrs. Doubtfire in that picture, but the kids raised money for St. Jude Telethon, and the winning homeroom got to pie me. You haven't experienced until you have 25 kids pie you at the same time. And then Master Haran from Valari's Art Studio, the karate studio, is running an after-school karate program right now. So our kids are in the cafeteria. We had it yesterday. And we have about 20 kids almost signed up participating in that. And then the other three pictures are students presenting their invention conventions. So they really enjoyed, and we were sitting at the table in front of them and had the rubric where we were taking turns judging their presentations. That was a lot of fun, actually. All right, so we're going to share with you some behavior data at a real quick glance. Keep going, Josh. Yeah. So if you look at this is all referrals by grade level this year from the beginning of the year to February 29th. So this is majors and minors. This is what teachers have handled and reported, as well as what we handle in the office level. Grade 5 is up, no question about it. I call it fifth grade-itis. They're getting ready to test those independent skills. And we have some of the students, whether they're gen ed or regular ed, on some behavior plans, some individual contracts, things like that we're working on, because we can look at the data and see what patterns are developing and where our repeat students are. And then we've been able to really fine tune what the needs are for some of those children. And it's parent meetings that happen too. And we have a really good partnership with a lot of the families that appreciate our outreach, because they share that their kids are testing their skills at home too sometimes. They're nice kids. This is the age where you start learning to be a little independent, and that we're trying to teach them respectfully how you work with boundaries and things like that. So this is the average referrals per day per month. I'm looking at a couple of years. So the green is last school year, and the blue is this school year. So when you look, the blue was high at the beginning of the year, and then it dipped down a little bit lower than last year, and then it dipped up again last month. So we watch this fluctuation to see what our patterns of behaviors are, and our team is reviewing this data. The teachers got to review all of this at our February staff meeting too, and give some feedback. And this is the type of behaviors over multi-year. So these are the major office referrals. So the good sign in this is when you look at the green, that was last year, the blue is this year. So that the major behaviors have been pretty much defined, but look at the second one is physical aggression. A lot of that pushing and shoving, and sometimes maybe a little too far, and we're talking about boundaries again. That's way down from last year. So we really do a lot of teaching and reteaching and reteaching and reteaching because they're 4th and 5th graders. So it's actually fun to have them understand care for self, care for others, and not just words. You have to put it into action. It's got to mean something. So those are the type of behaviors. And then this is the time of day of referrals. So it's a little high in the morning. That's our morning bus run. The afternoon, that is our afternoon bus run. Yeah, I can see it by locations as well, but these are the less structured areas, and then the middle of the day is that playground space, that's where they're less structured area, and they're really practicing those social skills, and we have to keep tweaking and reteaching and things like that. So we're making progress there. Peter Michelson and I work in concert with each other with the bus stuff between our two schools, because we are sister schools. There's times we've ridden the bus. We put different behavior plans and discipline for kids. And then we also are rewarding kids for making the right choices on buses too. And if you look at our triangle, it would be a triangle if you looked at 1 year, but I did it last year and this year, so that the left you see the greener part is lower. Your aim is to more green in a triangle and less red. So if you look at this year, we're heading in the right direction because the far right, the green has gone up and the red has gone smaller. So it's not a triangle, it's a rectangle when you look at 2 years, but we're pleased to see there's definitely progress on that. But children are learning and growing, and we tell our children, you're gonna make mistakes, we expect mistakes, learn from the mistakes, we'll keep teaching and reteaching. Okay. All right, so good things coming down the road. So New England Air Museum, we have our first field trip this week. We have 4th grade going this week and next week. Then the New Britain Art Museum, we're actually through a grant working with the district. Our 5th graders are going to the New Britain Art Museum, and also same time with Forbes students. So our Forbes students and our Southwest students are going to be meeting at the Air Museum on a variety of different days to do a lot of STEM related activities at the Art Museum. So we're pretty excited about that. This brand new information today, the State Department of Ed Special Education Division Director, Brian Klimowitz, I can't say it.
Klimkowitz.
Between Laura Klimaszewski and Brian Klimowitz, I'm not sure. But he's coming to observe our Voices program in April because he wants to see model programs in the state, and we're really excited that he's coming to see us. We've been bragging about our programs for a long time, and it's nice that the state's gonna come check it out. And then the high school, we have some partnerships building there with the Family Career Community Leadership Group. They've been doing some pen pal letters with one of our 4th grade WIN groups, and they're going to be coming into the school so they actually can meet each other and have some activities together. The Future Educators Club is visiting in May, so those future educators are going to be popping into our classrooms to see our teachers and students, and hopefully we're building future teachers. And yeah, middle school, we're going to have some teacher visits to see Benchmark in action. Vogel Wetmore, we're going to be doing transition visits for our grade 3 students that are in different programs to come see our school in advance to becoming our Southwest Dragons. They're going to be 4th graders next year. We also have a partnership with the high school coming up with a watershed science lesson that's going to come in Not sure the date yet, we're still working out the details with our fifth grade classes, and they're gonna come to do a science lesson with our fifth graders. As I stated earlier, Culture is Beautiful is ongoing, so they'll be coming between now and May. And then at the end of May, our grade 5 students will be doing the Culper Spy Ring again, where they love when they have to go to all the different stations throughout the school to figure out the spies and everything. And they have invisible writing stations to find out what the hidden clues are. They're working on the American Revolution. Next, the other lights might go off if you might have to move. All right, and then we have a couple testimonials we'd like to
Lo que
share.
me gusta del Southwest es los profesores son muy amables y te ofrecen clases de coro, banda y orquesta. Hacemos muchas actividades y ensambles. La cosa que me gusta más es cuando las señoras de la cafetería te dan helado en tu cumpleaños y otros días que te portas bien. Nosotros hacemos recaudación de fondos como una escuela para reunir dinero para el día de campo. A mí me gusta cómo la escuela nos mantiene a salvo. La escuela paga muchas cosas para que nosotros divertimos. Me encanta cómo el Sir Corpus y otros profesores me hacen reír y me hacen sentir bien. Things that I like about Southwest is that the teachers and staff are very nice, are very kind and helpful. And they offer you classes of band, chorus, and orchestra. We do a lot of activities and assemblies. The thing that I mostly like is the lunch ladies hand us ice cream on your birthday and when you behave. We do fundraisers as a school to gather money for field days. I like how the school keeps us safe. This school pays for a lot of equipment for us to have fun with. I love how Mr. Corpus and other teachers make me laugh and make me feel good. Cosas que me gusta del Southwest es lo. Hi. What I like about Southwest School is that people are very welcoming, teachers are very nice, and it's just an overall great school. Hi.
What I like about Southwest. What I like about Southwest School is the staff. I can see that the staff care about its students and the principal cares about the student. And it shows through their commitment to the students' education. En lo que me gusta más de la escuela de Southwest es que los maestros y la principal le encanta pasar tiempo con los niños y le importa la educación de los niños en la escuela. What I like about Southwest.
The things I love about Southwest are that there's food choices in the cafeteria. So like if you don't like one thing, you can choose like a bagel or like sun butter. And it's like, and hot lunch is always different. So it like helps me to choose what I want because I'm a picky eater. So I get to try new things. And we also have assemblies, and assemblies are so fun because there's music. So you can listen to like, it just gets you in the mood and vibe that the assembly's gonna be. And there's fun games for us to do, so we could like, you know, get our blood rushing, or like there's just a lot of excitement. And then there's mystery dragons, so there's 2 mystery dragons, and there's people in like these costumes and they're dragons because that's our mascot for the school. And we get to guess who the 2 dragons are because they're students throughout the entire assembly. So like how they're acting and the movements they're doing, just like a lot of different things, but they can't talk because then that'll give it away. There's also Dragon Awards. Dragon Awards are like people who have done better throughout the month, who have, you know, just overall been an overachiever throughout the month. Teachers give us time to think, and it like pushes us to be better, and they just let us say what's on our mind, if anything's wrong, what we're doing for the lesson, and they like push us to be better. Like they teach us to get better, they push us, they try to get us like smarter. Even though we're already smart, they want us to like push to be great.
Don't you love 10-year-old? So that's Southwest School.
Very nice.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? Comments? Thank you very much. Dr. Buchanan.
I'm gonna ask these ladies to be dismissed. They have young children at home, and I appreciate them coming tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
And can we have that sent out, this presentation sent out?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we are next ready for our community partner presentation, so that would be you to introduce.
Yes, so thank you. I am going to turn it over to the high school in just a moment, including to introduce the community partner, because the high school administrative team has a nice working relationship with this person. And I just want to give a shout out to this team for pulling this presentation together. The community partner that is going to speak for a few minutes is helpful in helping to support the development of the pathways. So it's a nice combination tonight. And the high school admin team, when I mentioned that we would like to do this for SICK either in March or April, it was, oh, let's do it in March. Let's get the word out there because we have great things to share. So here we are. I will turn it over to you and you can introduce Kim Matola.
So we'll have Kim, you there? There she is. So we'll have Kim introduce herself real quick, but she'll also be speaking a little bit later in our presentation as well.
Hi, thank you, Andrew. And first, I have to commend you guys. I'm so inspired by Southwest's presentation, and I'm in awe of you all. So thank you for the work that you do. I'm Kimberly Matola, HR leader at Charlotte Hungerford Hospital, HHC. And I've been with Charlotte almost 4 years, and we started a relationship with Torrington High, and we have I think a great balance of high school relationships that we want to continue to deepen, especially with our local high schools. So I've been doing that for a couple years now, and looking forward to the work that we're going to do together, and I can share a little more in a bit.
Thank you. Josh, can we bring the presentation up? No problem.
The high school presentation is in your packet also.
All right, so first we wanted to thank everyone thank the board for having us here tonight so we could talk about what is some really exciting work that's happening at the high school. I'll be talking as well as the whole administrative team, and this has been a team effort. This has not been any one person, but particular kudos to Amanda Torres, who last year, you may recall, joined us 3/4 of the way through the year, 2/3 of the way through the year, and this was one of the projects that I asked her to take on, and she has just done an amazing job with this project. So, go to the next slide. This is, of course, the vision statement, and particularly one thing we wanted to highlight is in the vision statement, it talks about students reaching their full potential as they enter the college or career of their choosing, and that's really what these pathways are all about. The pathways, which we'll get more in depth into in a moment, really give students the opportunity to exit the pathway at 3 different levels. So there are clear ways or clear directions for the student to leave the pathway and enter college, clear pathways for the student to leave and go directly into a career, and then clear pathways for students to pursue certificates or technical school to pursue careers within these pathways.
So I'll be talking about this next slide. Our counselors have done a phenomenal job, both at the high school and the middle school level, of providing students with informational sessions, included in the format of the what, the why, and the how of the pathways. So the what includes introducing to students the philosophy behind the pathways, as well as certain different career pathways, one of the 7 that they can select, and to pique their interest. The why includes how selecting a particular pathway can help personalize the learning experience for the different students, as well as help them see the interconnectedness that exists between the different classes and across the years as they navigate through the different pathways. Moreover, it helps root students into the learning experience, and as they go through the years, it helps them unearth their learning. This is critically important because it engages the students in the learning. And then the how of the pathways. The how, my colleagues will speak a little bit more about, but what's important about the how of the pathways is that it invites students to be partners in the learning experience, and it really gives them the onus as we work alongside them. because the pathways are important for us, we went to all the different classrooms, and myself and Mr. Martian actually went down to the middle school, and we got right down in there. That's a picture of myself in there with the kids. We're working, we're looking at the pathways, we're helping them sign up. Also, while I was down there, the students are very excited about the new high school. So it was a great time for all of us to kind of talk about the pathways as well as the new high school. So again, the what, the why, and the how, and the student-friendly brand.
Okay, so part of those lessons that the school counselors are going around, we're using Zello. They were using Naviance before, you might be familiar with Naviance. We have moved to Zello full-time, and it's a fantastic program where the students can choose their career pathways in there and choose the courses based on the career pathways. And then it kind of outlines their 4-year progression, which is a very nice picture of what it will look like when they're done. We can actually, they get to take a career assessment, they get to take a skills assessment and a strength assessment. So it kind of goes, it helps them choose what kind of pathway they should go into, and then explore inside there. We're not going to watch the video, but inside there you can see a little insight on each career if you would like to. You get a little interview with a person and then a overall look at the career. What's nice about this is it actually imports, and we did test it, it does import directly into PowerSchool. So when they choose their classes, they can choose it based on, through Zello, it'll import into PowerSchool, which will help us make the requests and find it more accurate, and hopefully line everything up that way. So what's for that?
So those are just some snapshots from our school counselor presentations on Zello, and that's a snapshot of one of the slides that the school counselors presented that allowed students to jump to a Google form and kind of pick out what they thought would be a pathway that they'd be really interested in pursuing at the high school level. So that was presented to the 8th grade, like current 8th graders and current 9th graders. You know, just talking about Zello too, another nice thing, you know, to piggyback off of what Andrew was saying, is Zello also helps us to track to the courses that students have taken, you know, and track the pathways. So it kind of takes some of the pressure off of everybody else in that tracking piece. This was actually, if you get a copy of the slides presentation, this has like a hyperlink. And if you wanted to click on it, we could, but that links to a website that we created, and each of the little parts at the top are all the different pathways, and it links up to the brochures that we shared last year during the SIC presentation. And we'll talk a little bit about that more later.
So Amanda, hang on one second. So
Yep.
that red bar across the top, correct? If they clicked on like business and entrepreneur, correct, right there?
Yep.
That would take them to the,
Yep, so
Yeah.
even if you wanted to in the presentation right now, if you clicked on that, that actually will launch you over to the website. So say if you wanted to click on the business entrepreneur pathway at the top, it will just link you up with a little bit of information about the pathway. If you scroll down, it has copies of the brochures in English and in Spanish, but we're working to currently like perfect this a lot more, and we'll, we have some, we can even pass this out whenever, some other drafted information that we plan on.
yeah, really impressive.
Hopefully getting out at the end of this year, to families.
Thank you.
And then this slide right here, currently we have 258 ninth graders and 321 8th graders. Of those students at this point, we have about 220 students that have completed the form, and I'm sorry, there's a whole bunch. We can pass the whole stack down. Like, have completed a Google form to show us their interest on what pathway they might be interested in pursuing at the high school level.
And I'm just gonna jump in real quick here. I think most of you know I've had the opportunity to go and visit some other high schools this year to see what they're doing that we can steal from, and also had several conversations with principals at different schools, you know, to get ideas of how they've handled these different elements. So I have visited and discussed the pathways at Bristol Central High School, at Norwalk High School, at Greenwich High School, and at Foreign High School in Milford. Even though most of those schools are considerably larger than our school, we actually have more students enrolled in pathways than any of those schools. The next closest was Greenwich High School, and in case you're not familiar with Greenwich High School, it is the largest high school in the state. They do have about the same number of students enrolled, but that's 4 grade levels of kids. We have only enrolled 2 grade levels of students at our school because the way the pathways are laid out, there are additional elements beyond just the courses that the students do participate in, so it does require them to be in the pathway for a minimum of 3 years. So we were unable to enroll juniors and seniors into the pathways at this time because they wouldn't have been able to complete them. So, kudos to our guidance department and to Amanda for really, taking this on and doing an amazing job of getting those kids enrolled. Now I'll turn it back over to Liza.
Before you go on though, can we just go back to that slide? I think it's probably no surprise, right? When you look at the high interest pathways, STEM and high tech, right? It's interesting that health and wellness, nobody wants to be a teacher though.
Civic and global engagement is a little bit less, so.
Just,
They just don't know.
yeah.
We have to work on that.
Yeah.
I'm happy it's not the lowest one.
This is another slide on Zello and the career and course planner. We've actually used this after they signed up for their pathway. It was fantastic because we can go in here and we can search the students that are interested in health career, and that we had a health career panel come in through the Northwest Regional Workforce Investment Board, which Kim moderated and did an excellent job with, and that's kind of one she can talk to here today as well. And so Kim, I can kind of let you take over from here if you'd like, and you could go to the next slide for me, Josh, and that'll be, I don't know if you can put Kim on at the same time as the slide, but this talks about the internship that.
Yeah.
Kim, go ahead.
You got it. Yeah. So can I say a little bit more?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So first of all, I want to say how grateful I am that the work that you guys are doing and the work that we need to do, we're in sync. And, I think what we are all realizing, over the past 4 years is that we have to think local, and we have to build the workforce of tomorrow through our education partners, our resource partners, and business, right? So I'm so grateful that we are doing this work at Charlotte. I know we've had, a deep background and relationship with Torrington High, and we want to continue to nurture that and build it back up to, a place where we are in symbiosis. So, the internship that you see here, I believe we had almost 18 students last year who came through this, learned life-saving skills in the time that they were at Charlotte. They're now onboarded as volunteers, so they can also come back and volunteer in different areas and get exposure that way. The big lift that we have right now is building early awareness. So it's getting in front of high schoolers, we'll call them, and helping them connect with their passion and purpose. And that's a big part of the message when we go into high schools as part of the Northwest Region Healthcare Partnership, which brings all industry and all these resources together. So we're working with organizations who are normally competitors, right? Or I would say used to be competitors. Now we're partners because we all have the same needs. And working with our local resources, educators, we're able to work together to create these pathways that you guys are building beautifully. And how can we, our big question to ourselves is how can we continue to support you in this work and build even more specialized pathways in healthcare where there are lots of jobs, because we do have, hundreds of thousands of jobs now and in the next 3 years that we're going to have to fill. And so beyond that, how do we build a sustainable mechanism to create that workforce of tomorrow, and at the same time uplift our communities in a sustainable way? So that's our focus, and I'm so happy that is really the work that we're just starting together with Torrington High.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim. It's great. It's a great relationship because, it sounds like, I don't know, they need us just as much as we need them. And we like that. So it works out great. And they do a fantastic job working with us. The kids couldn't say enough great things about the staff when they were over there in the internship field and the opportunities that they had. They did not think they could get in a medical field. and be right in there. It was fantastic. Really, and Kim has some great ideas of, moving forward, how she can involve Charlotte Hungerford with Harvard Healthcare directly in with the pathway. So it's going to be exciting to see where we go from here.
Yes,
you, Kim.
it is. Thank you for inviting me. This was great.
I don't know if you have to stay for the rest of this.
You feel as though you have to stay.
Yeah.
We're so appreciative of your time and your involvement and your partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Beautiful work. Keep it up.
Thanks, Kim.
So continuing with that experience and providing our students with experiences so that way they can really get them involved in the pathway, we're working on developing our education pathway school partnerships. Right now, we have some of the high school students who are actually going down to the elementary. Some students who are interested in becoming educators, and then they're working with the youngsters. There are some students who are not interested in being the educators. Because they're going down, working and talking and work with the youngsters, now they're coming back saying, this is something I really want to do. And this is critically and it's important because it helps both the elementary as well as us at the high school. As Marianne mentioned, we are developing a future educators club, Young Educators Society, and through that club, we're going to be partnering students up in the ARC room, Academic Resource Center, extended school day, so that way students can continue to get the experience. Moreover, that and our preschool are also working to get students in there. So it's really an amazing partnership to see what's happening both outside of the school as well as within the school. Right now, we're housed in Torrington. We're starting there first because it's the closest, and then we're going to expand on that for all the other elementary schools in the district.
So obviously, the first two pathways we just highlighted tend to lead more likely to students who are looking to pursue a four-year college after high school. But we have a lot of students who, of course, that's not the direction they want to go. So we do have other opportunities as well. As I said, each pathway does set students up to leave at 3 different levels, go on to a four-year college, technical school, or directly into a career. For our high-tech and STEM manufacturing pathway, we've partnered with the Builders Trade Council, and we will be launching our first internship program with them this year. It's going to be launching in March. The Builders Trade Council is going to be working with 11 of our seniors, and they're going to be lined up with apprenticeships in a wide variety of trades, including electricians, plumbing, HVAC, and carpentry, as well as a few more. The kids will be working in that internship for about 2 hours each day with people who are actually in the trade to learn firsthand and hands-on what it's like to be a welder or a carpenter. So we're really excited about this Builders Trade Council training internship program that we'll be launching as part of our.
All right, so this slide I'm really excited about. So you did get that packet. It looks like a lot, but actually if you were to click on this link, it kind of showcases the first 3 pages of that packet. And actually it looks a lot nicer when you go into the digital format. The second page in there, where it kind of showcases all 7 of the pathways, those are actually hyperlinks within the document that will take you straight to one of the sheets on there that has a lot more information. This is only a draft, so there's so much work that has to be done here, but we're like in the process right now, working with all the departments at the school to get feedback. This is really a way for us to ensure that we're sequencing the pathways correctly for students, and that we're really kind of housing all information for students in nice locations. So that way, if you're really interested in going down the education pathway or the high-tech STEM manufacturing, there's so many great opportunities that students are offered, putting them all in one spot and really starting to build in all those future opportunities too that we're looking into in one place. So starting to put all that in one spot together. We're hoping to have this done in the next couple months so that we can get this out to students by the end of the year and really start promoting this. And I think one thing that we had with our brochures and with the website as it stands right now is it's so much to put all that information about all the courses. So we really want to simplify those. So that's the plan too, by the end of the year, really making the brochures really just a little bit more information about each pathway, and then really diving in further within this guide for students. The other exciting thing on here is we're currently have been filming we're making an intro to college and career pathways video. Rory O'Neill, one of our teachers at the high school, and Miguel Chavez, one of our students at the high school, have been working really hard to start filming different students, our upperclassmen students speaking to the wonderful experiences that they've had so far and how it's helped to shape, where they're looking to head in the future and helped, with their post-secondary, like college and career readiness. And for our students that are just coming in and starting to select pathways, the why behind, why they've gone in different directions and what they're hoping to get out of the experiences. So that's what we're in the works of now, just a really short intro video that we're hoping to have done by the end of the school year too. I'm really excited about.
So right now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the 6 key elements that we use to create our pathways. The pathways are based on designing education, identifying the different sectors that our students, that we will need to kind of help build our pathways, build cross-agency, measure systems, align policies, as well as identifying funds and needs. We're constantly looking at scholarships, and we're constantly working with central office to see what we can do to ensure that we have the funds that we need to support our students, because they deserve it and we deserve it. And we want to make sure that the students have the very best here at Torrington High School. So some of the steps in the pathway development included formulating the pathways, identification of the 7 different pathways that students could select to make sure that all of our students here have something that they can find to connect. The criteria for pathway achievement, which we talked about a little bit, into what and the why and the how, in order to ensure that students have something that they can put on their resume as well as on their diploma when they leave us here. Creation of the promotional brochures, as Ms. Amanda just talked about. We've done both on paper format as well as in a digital format, and we're currently developing a website to make sure that students, both in the school as well as 7 and 8 graders, start looking at it and start getting into it to get excited about it. We're constantly focusing on the revision of the program we study to ensure that it aligns with our pathway, and anything that we need to change, we're actually currently working on it right now. We're developing our program and study for the 24-25 school year, and we're constantly working with teachers to say, what do we need, what do we not? And we're giving them a chance to give us feedback on it to ensure that we continue to develop and change. Some of the work that we have to do for the future includes continuing to build partnerships with our community, continuing measurement of achievement and reflection on growth and revision, as a pathway guide and video that Ms. Torres just talked about, as well as make sure that we revamp and improve our lessons that we have for the middle school and high school during advisory. So we have our work cut out for us, but I truly feel as if we're a great team. We're in alignment. We're the right people at the right time, with the right talent, and with the right temperament to get this work done.
Nice alliteration.
Yeah, I'm a former English teacher.
That's it. Thank you. Those of us who've been around a while and watched this begin, it is just so great to see the flesh put on these bones and the way it's going. You are doing a great job of implementing a good idea, taking a good idea and building it into something that's so good for kids. So good. Very Torrington. So this is very Torrington. Anyway, comments or questions? Ellen?
If a student decides that this is the pathway I want to take, and then for freshman year, they're like, yeah, this is not really for me. Do you have that built in where they can?
Yes,
and I know there's certain lessons that cross pathways, so.
Yeah, students aren't locked in to a pathway, so they do have the option of either changing pathways or not having a pathway at all. The advantages that being in the pathway offer them, some of those don't transfer well if you leave a pathway altogether, but they would still hold true if you just simply were to switch from, say, the business entrepreneurship pathway to the high-tech manufacturing pathway. So those advantages include that students who are in a pathway get preferential seating or selection with the scheduling process, so that they get access to those high-level courses that are required for the pathway before other students do. And then they also get access to those internship opportunities that we're still constructing, such as the Business Trade Institute, the partnership with Charlotte Hungerford, and then also the education work that we started. So those internship opportunities and the preferential scheduling are really the big advantages the kids get. And if you switch from one pathway to another, you don't lose those advantages. And for the students who don't know what they want to do yet, that's fine too. They're not at any big disadvantage. It would be more difficult to get into some of those more advanced or high-level courses within a pathway. But other than that, because a lot of kids just don't know yet. I know I didn't when I was 16, so.
And everybody stays on track for graduation.
Yeah.
So no matter if you go in or out of a pathway, you're always on track for graduation, because the core classes and everything you need is lined up.
And then the parents are involved all the way.
So I'm trying to understand the starting process, and please understand, I haven't been here for the majority of this. So they choose a pathway in 8th grade going into 9th grade, but they don't have to, but they do have to choose by sophomore year if they are going to be a pathway.
Right.
Because it has to be 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, the way that it is structured, there's certain elements, including extracurricular activities that the students must engage in order to complete the pathway, and that is a 3-year minimum. So by your sophomore year, you would have to know if you wanted to do one of the pathways. But, we still have lots of opportunities for kids that don't choose to do that. And really, in talking with the principals at other schools, they felt that extracurricular component was what was really increasing the number of kids that were getting involved in the pathways, because being involved with clubs like DECA really does increase your likelihood of wanting to go into business and entrepreneurship. We now have a future educators club at the high school. Being involved with something like that really gets students more excited about going into the field of education. So that extracurricular component is really a key element to making the pathways successful.
It's interesting that you mentioned Greenwich High School, because that's how I knew about pathways to begin with. My brother is a teacher at Greenwich. So that's how I knew about this. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you've been doing this down there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. Thank you.
So,
Real quick, I love the pathway setup. I'm waiting to see this, and I was wondering if we could get a link to the page that you demonstrated for us, where you just drilled in. If that's something that you could send out to the board, just so we could play around with it. We won't.
We won't give you editing access, don't worry.
That other packet is nicer too, through like a direct link, but there's
rather
still
than just a printed one. Yeah.
And then, and this may be built in here, I'm not familiar with a lot of the terminology, but we have this huge construction and automotive wing being built. Where do those pathways fall into this? Are we waiting until we get?
Nope, so most of those opportunities would fall into the high-tech and manufacturing pathway.
Okay.
Specifically the engineering lab, which if you're thinking about that floor where those are, that's one of the 2 largest rooms down there. The construction lab is the other really large room down there. So that again would fall into the high-tech and manufacturing lab.
This is great. Really great job, you guys.
I have a lot of work. I gotta say hats off to you guys. I'm listening to you and watching this, and I'm thinking, in my previous life as a high school principal and assistant principal, first of all, I don't know how you run the day-to-day stuff. You built this. This is phenomenal work, and it really showcases what an amazing comprehensive high school Torrington High School is. So kudos to all of you. I'm really blown away by this. Nice job, really.
Can I just add too, I just want to reiterate something that you just said, John. This was a good idea, and it's been aspirational at best for the past couple of years. And now it's actually operational, right? Thanks to all of the hard work that's happening. So thank you all. It's so exciting, because if you've been around for a while and you think back to when we first started meeting with the architects, it was really the dream and the vision for some of this that drove some of the design work for some of these spaces. So now everything is kind of coming together and gelling at the same time, and it's so exciting.
If you really think about that whole bottom floor of the new building, I mean, each one of those rooms is just completely aligned to a pathway. I mean, because the other room that's down there is, of course, the child development preschool room, which falls right into our educational pathway.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that whole bottom floor of the building is really just all about the pathways.
Yes. And we do have students, I think you mentioned Amanda or Kenny, that are actually visiting some of our lower schools, right? I mean, Corinne was maybe gonna speak, right? one of our students who is just so excited about the work that she's been doing and seeing really what it feels like to be a teacher, you know.
We were really proud of her. We honored her, I believe it was January.
Yeah,
at the board.
board meeting.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. She
Yeah.
came back to Mr. Pierce, hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just amazing to see. It
Yeah.
really hits you right here.
Yes, it does. I know. I mean, I could get all choked up about it. So thank you again, all of you.
Any last minute or final comments? Okay, then moving on, we are ready for our board goals discussion. We have a worksheet for that. I passed out the result of last month's discussion. And I think this is a meeting where if we can, we will decide what we're going to pass on to the board for approval. If not, we can do this next month. No hurry on this, it's not until 24-25 school year that we need them. We go through number by number. 1, monitor implementation, et cetera, et cetera. We said we discussed that at the school improvement committee meeting. Part of the problem is that the city strategic plan, which was, again, COVID, ready to be worked on significantly, worked on, just never did get worked on. If we keep this as a goal, it'll keep it in front of our minds. If we don't, we'll hurt anything. So what do we want to do about this committee? What?
It's fine.
So we keep it to just to remind us?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, so we keep it. Monitor and support middle school, I don't know how we could not take the next one on, right? We're gonna keep that one, unless someone wants not to.
No, we
We keep that. Number 3, skull and crossbones. Monitor and collaborate. 4, on a fiscal plan, reduction federal, state. This one is getting ready for, making sure that we consciously stay ready for. It's going to be a pretty disastrous cliff to go off of. So we keep that. Skull and crossbones for 5 and 6. 7, align and update board policies, current legislative reflective initiatives, board occurring district initiatives. Phil? I'm looking at you, and you don't know I'm looking at you.
I don't.
I'm sorry, not to start kicking you when I do
No,
that.
don't do that.
You have anything to say?
I get bad knees, so don't do that.
Anything to say about this?
No, I don't.
No,
No.
okay, Kristen?
No,
So, keep it?
I would.
Okay, we're gonna keep
Yeah.
that. Good, this is going along very well. Well, we had a lot of this
So
discussion.
far, we
last
haven't
time,
eliminated
and
any.
that's why they're here. Not that we didn't have eliminated the last time. And the last one seems to be redundant because we addressed that in board policy. That was just there, I think, as a reminder under a specific set of circumstances. Did we just X this one?
That's the one I'd like to eliminate.
Yes, that's the one we want, the cohesive disregarding political affiliation. In other words, do your job without personal.
Right.
You rid of it?
Okay.
It's gone, okay, it's gone. So we will be recommending to the board the 4 goals that we have decided to keep. Right, is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Yep.
That was quick.
You're
Well,
welcome,
we
John.
had- Yes, indeed, thank you. Distinguished alumnus.
Distinguished alumnus update. All the information has been disseminated to all staff twice now, once right after our last meeting and then again on March 1st. That's typically what we do. We send it out 2 times. Mary Graziani was nice enough to send it out through her media listserv. Having said all of that effort and outreach has only resulted in, 3 submissions, but we have 2 for the same person. So we only have 2 new nominations so far. When I checked with Mary today for the number in advance of this meeting, I thought, maybe I'll send it out one more time. We do, as you know, keep them for a couple of years. The ones that we've had for the past 2 years will again be brought forward. but we've only yielded 2 new from this go-round.
I talked to Mr. Uccolino on the phone today, and he has another person in mind, and I told him, don't tell me about it, submit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
There may be another one there, or it may be one of the people who's already been nominated this year.
Maybe. Yeah, I've had a couple of staff members reach out to ask to make sure that the person that they nominated a year ago is still in the running and that sort of thing.
Because we've had good solid pool of nominees the last couple of years. Okay. So we're doing pretty well on that then. Is it normal that it's the end that produces most of?
Yes,
It's human nature.
like everything else, yeah. And I can send out a quick reminder, just, hey,
The
the deadline is
coming.
looming, yeah,
That we are nasty about that.
that's right.
Do we keep like a running list of the previous?
Yes.
And is it on the district website?
It is on the website, and it is also something that we're working with Mario and some members of the building committee on right now, because apparently some short bios are going to be part of something that happens at the high school. They're going to be
the
projected.
Hall of Fame.
Interactive Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Interactive Hall of Fame, thank you. Yes, they will be part of that, yeah.
Okay. Things are pretty good then.
Yeah.
Distinguished alums. Okay. Topics for future meetings. I think we said state test scores coming up next month.
If that's what the committee wants next
I
month?
think that's.
Well,
what-
the state test scores, yes.
From last year, because
From
we haven't
last
talked
year.
about those yet.
Yep, from last year,
Talked
yeah.
about those yet. So let's take a look at that going into this year's, which starts sooner than we'd like to think.
Yeah.
Sooner than we would like to think. Anyone else with future agenda?
Nothing.
Nothing? Yep. Okay. In that case, it is time for comments for the good of the order. Josh? Marissa? Amanda? Okay.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having Kim. Appreciate it.
Brian?
Thank you for all of the appreciation for the work that was done.
Love seeing what's happening at Southwest.
Yes.
It's fun to see the dragon costume. That's a great idea.
We're gonna get Andrew on.
Yeah. I'll take it.
He'll be the permanent mystery dragon.
I do get the pie in the face a lot.
That's one.
Sue?
Southwest, Dr. Buchanan, thank you for having us, and we had Kristen and John the other day for a little tour, so much appreciated. The testimonials were great. It got into what really happens, not the classroom stuff, but what Southwest is all about, so that was enjoying. The pathway presentation was excellent. Thank you, Brian, and your staff for all your efforts and continued efforts that you're gonna be faced with over the next year. Thank you so much.
Great job, high school team.
Bill?
Um,
Anything to say about the meeting?
yeah, I know. Both of the presentations were really well done. I was happy that, with the slides, there was actually running commentary. The slideshows don't do a whole lot for me. The pathways one was really interesting because, being able to take a look at different choices is, to try to figure out what it is you want to do. I know it's tough to try to figure that out at 16. I'm nearly 69 and I'm still trying to figure that out. But great meeting, and Marianne, thanks for hosting us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Andrew?
I am looking forward to sitting here in 5 years and seeing where those students who were interviewed in your presentation are speaking about their experience, hopefully, in the pathways.
Marianne, your turn.
It'd be cool to hear a 15-year-old perspective. 10-year-olds are so much fun. I love the innocence of them. We actually had a handful of kids who did want to contribute to saying what they liked about the school. And I said, I can't take all of you. It was tough, but we didn't tell them anything to say. It's like, what do you like about Southwest? And that's what we went with. You guys are rock stars. I am blown away by what you are doing. So happy to be a colleague of yours. Really, I can't believe the work you're doing in this. And I would like to share this with my staff tomorrow, at my staff meeting, to tell them the good news, if you don't mind, because I have a meeting here tomorrow morning. Just skimming the surface. Thank you.
Sue?
Just another thank you to the high school team and also to Southwest, to Mary Ann and the coaches who were here earlier. Michael and I had the opportunity to be here at Southwest this morning and to participate in a little Read Across America activity. And
Yeah.
I think Joanne, you were here too, right? And we read in some of the classrooms, and it was just, it's always so nice to be able to be with the kids and just. And I know this is off topic, but we were at the middle school today and we got to see the little dry run of the history project. We got to see Miss
Oh,
Emma.
boy.
Yeah, yeah.
First female
Yeah.
pharmacist.
Yes,
Female, gotta get that in there.
So it's always so exciting just to be in the buildings, and I'm just so, I don't know, just feel so good about tonight. I was so looking forward to tonight's meeting. Not that I don't always look forward to this, but tonight I was particularly jazzed, so thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you. Great meeting, great presentations, both.
Okay, great,
Yeah,
thanks.
excellent. Great presentations, PHS, those pathways have been just below the surface for so long, and you're making them a reality, so great job, very exciting. And Mary Ann, great presentation, love the
Spanish in there,
Southwest.
right?
Well, I have a note, thank you for embracing multilingualism in your presentation. Excellent, thank you.
She's one of our language learners at the very beginning.
Sure, absolutely. Yes, she has. That's great.
Nothing much I can add except for all the work. I can't believe how much you've gotten done in the short period of time that you've undertaken this, and I can't wait for the rest.
Thank you again to Dr. Buchanan for the tour a couple days ago. It was nice to see Camilla in the video. I know her through Cheer. She's a sweet kid. It was really nice to see her. I'm super excited for my daughter to go to high school next year. She has not chosen pathway, but that's okay.
Plenty of time.
Great team. Thank you for the wonderful presentation, and this is a phenomenal program.
Thank you all for a very productive meeting, for good presentations, and good things going on, and this is the committee where we talk about the good things that are going on. So thank you very much, and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
to call to order the policy subcommittee meeting Wednesday, March 6th, 2024. It's 7:05 PM. Roll call from the committee. We have Kristen and John and Bill. Marissa, you have everybody else, correct? Yeah, and Mr. Mangling. And Thori. Can I hear a motion, please, to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
A motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public participation?
There's no one on the phone.
We have someone in public.
Should we bring it up now, or?
Let me read, I'll read this since you are here. Yeah, and then that'll lead us into our first topic of the use of the facilities.
Right.
Okay, so public participation, members of the public and staff may bring to the committee's attention information, ideas, or matters of concern related to all the duties and responsibilities of this committee. The committee will not allow comments regarding specific staff members or personal grievances. The time for individual remarks will be apportioned according to the number of speakers and will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker unless extended by the chair. So with that said, we would like to invite Mr. LaMonica and Mr. Daigle.
I appreciate, we appreciate it a lot that you acknowledged our request.
Mhm.
And hopefully,
Of course.
it's up to your board here, but we did,
Okay. You did receive a letter that I gave at that last Board of Ed meeting.
If you could just introduce yourselves to the rest of the committee, because I'm not sure that everyone here is familiar.
Okay.
From our board meeting, they weren't all here, so if we could just start with that. if you don't
Okay,
mind.
my name is Harris Daigle, and I'm president of the Torrington Symphony Orchestra. I've been president for the last 40 years, who knows, whatever. Any case, I'm here on behalf of the symphony on using the facilities. We started playing in 1961, and our rehearsals were at the Vogel School. And then we moved there to Torrington High School as the middle school was being built. And we went to the middle school, I think, in 1988 or 1990, as soon as it was done. And we've always been part of adult ed and so forth there. But what's happening now is that we're being charged for use of the building.
Under our new policy.
A new policy,
Right, okay.
right, which we have not experienced that before, except sometimes during the summertime when there are no custodians on.
Okay.
That is an expense to us, so we have 24 rehearsals a year. So we're looking at, for the symphony, we're looking at $5,000 approximately around that figure. So what I'm asking is that we could be as we were and pay for the summer custodians. I guess what happens is there's the guys are on nights cleaning the building, and they just unlock the door for me, and I just race from there now because rehearsal starts in 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then at the end of the night, I just close down. But in the summertime, when the building is closed, I've hired a custodian. Sometimes I did not because there were games or something. I never
So
really
they were there
understand how it
anyway.
worked. But nevertheless,
Okay.
we pay for the summer, which is 3 rehearsals, and it's better than 26 rehearsals. So that's where I'm coming from now for the symphony.
Okay, so I just have a couple questions, and then I want to see if anyone else on the committee or on the board has a question. So under the new policy, there's certain requirements that I think it's 10% of our student population be part of your nonprofit organization in some way, shape, or form. I don't know the numbers offhand. I don't know what the symphony currently seats for, or you have openings for our students. Where does that stand?
Okay, well, the symphony itself is a mixture of people from all around Litchfield County, New York, whatever, Massachusetts, people drive down. Occasionally we have students come in. Nothing for this concert right now, but we have a big concert. Well, we have a concert 2 weeks, but we have a concert May 11th on the main stage at the Warner, in which case we're giving an opportunity I emailed Wayne last week. He's the band director at, and orchestra at Torrington High School. And I know he has a good string quartet there, 4 of them which made All-State. And so I invited them because it'd be good for them also, because they want to go for a degree in music. So from what I understand, that there is a cellist that's interested in playing, and perhaps a few more. I emailed Wayne Thursday or Friday, and he got back to me, he passed it on, and one responded to her cello teacher already, who happens to play in the symphony, so I had an inside connection with that one.
Oh, okay.
So it's hard to invite kids in sometimes because of the level of music we're playing. This is a tough concert in spring. My thought, and when September comes around, it's the Saturday before Christmas in the fall, where the music is easier, a little more fun, Christmassy type, holiday type things, where I can invite more students. Not necessarily to be an all-state, but there's a trick there. You want to invite kids to play, but on the other hand, you don't want to frustrate a music band. I mean, I conducted orchestra for 38 years. I'm retired, so I know what it's like bringing kids in. So it's nice to dangle a carrot in front of them, but you don't want to,
Overwhelm
stifle them either.
What are your current hours of rehearsal?
We rehearse from 7:30 to 9:30.
Okay.
And I usually get there 6:30, 6:45 to set up things.
Okay. Would it be possible, and I'm just putting this out here because as you're telling us, giving us information, questions are coming to my mind. And I understand that the level of the symphony may not be equivalent to our students at this point, but is it something that maybe from, 6:30 to 7:30, it could be opened up to our students that are interested in going in that direction, to have just a little bit of private time with them before you go into your symphony rehearsal? I'm just thinking outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of like that, but it has to be worked out with my conductor,
Okay.
Wayne at the high school, and the type of music we're playing.
Okay.
For example, if that's something that we could work out for the fall, then, and I had another couple of thoughts where I could actually go into the high school and talk to Wayne and actually conduct the kids there.
Do something with them.
I mean, we can work something out. I just need a certain
So
amount
you're
of
open
students.
to,
I'm open to anything.
Okay.
I mean, strings are strings.
Right.
I have a hard time even getting professionals sometimes, let alone volunteers.
yeah, okay.
So, and it's nice to see some string players at the school. I graduated from Torrington High School in 1965, and I didn't play a legitimate instrument. So I couldn't get into music school back then, so I had to scramble. But it's nice to have a spring program there where these kids could.
There's something for them
continue on.
to, look for.
So I'm open to all kinds of things.
Okay.
I talked to my board a little bit about it. They'll flex whatever we have to do. It's a question of getting kids.
Right.
As a matter of fact, even from time to time, there is an occasional good 8th grader that might be able to play.
Okay.
Especially during the summer. That's our easiest season.
Right.
It's only 3 rehearsals.
Okay.
So the pressure's on, but,
Yeah.
I will work at it if that's what you're asking me.
Yeah,
As I
okay.
say, I started already.
Okay. Does anyone on the board, and we have Dean and Mark here too, if anybody has any questions? Let me start with Ellen. Go ahead, Ellen.
How many members are in the Torrington Symphony Orchestra?
On any one concert, it's about 48 to 50. On our general roster, there's 70. So basically, it's 45 to 50 each concert.
Thank you.
And how many of them are Torrington residents?
I would have to say probably half, 20, 25 players. And again, that fluctuates because when we have a concert coming up, my secretaries call out, some play, some can't play. I can't do this concert, I'll do the next concert. But I would have to say 20, 25 players is a good average.
Bill, Kristen, do you have any questions?
No. I do like your idea, though, about inviting the high school students.
And even an 8th grader or two to have some kind of
half
a
an hour,
practice.
45 minutes before to, learn some
Some
stuff.
exposure.
Or depending on the concert and the material, they just
They can
come
even
in like
participate in the
everybody else.
concert, or
Yeah.
practice with,
Right,
right.
like
that-
these kids, if they play our spring concerts before kids in All-State, they're probably better than some players I already have. So they would just come in and play.
I like your idea as well.
Okay.
I do remember, it's been a while back, maybe 10 or 15 years, where all the Torrington High School came in and joined us on a couple of numbers. And I believe that was at the Nance Marine Studio Theater. So we had he didn't have as many, so he's got more string players now, but I think it was at least 20 kids came in.
Wow.
And it was this whole group, and they sat in with a couple numbers that were on the easier side. And it was fun. So, I mean, we could do things like that. I have to just keep the doors
Plan it,
open
right.
and
And
hopefully
we have
get
the
some
communication going, yeah,
Right,
so
and
we
hopefully
need
get some
to.
quality students that want to continue on and better themselves as musicians.
Okay, John?
And another way to get student involvement is to give tickets to students so they could attend the concerts. I
Right,
think that
if
might,
that's something.
help with the number of students who
We
may
did have that
participate.
idea, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great, yeah.
In fact, our spring concert, May 11th, will that quartet may join us. That's on the main stage at the Warner.
And those are the
And
girls that just
normally-
played for us last week, right?
Yeah.
At the meeting, they were
They're
incredible.
really good.
They were really
Yeah.
good.
I'm
Yeah.
anxious to hear them, but
Mhm.
there's a case at our spring concert, May 11th, that I can give Wayne as many tickets as he wants for the group, because I know we're not gonna fill.
The whole
I'm
theater.
not gonna fill the Warner.
Yeah, I think that would help with the
Yeah.
numbers that we need to reach.
Yeah.
Right, and that way they can see what it's
And
all
even if
about.
the kids don't come, if
Mhm.
you've passed out the tickets, I would count the
Right.
number of tickets you
Right.
get.
Well,
to put in someone's account.
I was a little confused on that. It's hard to get 10% playing.
Right.
You
No,
know,
we are
what
not
I can
looking for
look at to
playing, we're looking for involvement.
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
10%
it's just
on the other
having
side's
the
easier.
engagement, yeah, giving them the opportunity to go outside of what we can offer them.
Yeah.
Here is,
Yeah, we want to go with the policy.
right, of course.
We're just trying to figure out a way to
How to do it.
please everyone.
Mhm.
And no one can come back and say, oh, you didn't do it right, or get you guys in trouble, or anything like that.
Then everybody's
So I
banging
think
down
we've
our
been
door
working
for,
on, like I said, we were thinking about giving tickets out, and
things like
I
that.
had said to him, most of these people that do play on the symphony now, at one time were in high school. I mean, so.
At Torrington High or even high school, anywhere, right, yeah, so
Exactly,
they start, yeah.
Or grammar school, or wherever.
Yeah.
But,
I'm glad to hear that the 10% would be even kids in the audience coming to participate. as an
Yeah, just
audience.
kind of,
'Cause
right.
That's
If-
easy, that's much easier than.
Well, if you
finding
have
a
40
kid.
or 50 members and we have 4 girls right off the bat, that's almost 10% right there, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
so it's helpful to get this information. Dean, did you have anything you wanted to add, any questions? No, okay, Mark? No? Yes, Ellen?
It's not the number attending a concert, because a concert isn't at the school.
Yeah, it's participation,
It would be participating, like in the rehearsals.
right, or,
So when you're at the school, 10% attending at the school. So you can invite even high schoolers to come and even watch you play.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't have to participate.
right, but it doesn't have to necessarily be after school, they could come to one of our venues.
It would have to be
Right.
at the school because you're renting our facility, so 10%.
well, wait, what do you mean we have to be at it doesn't have to be at the school?
No, I would see that differently.
Because we
too.
don't have, PAL isn't at the school, not everything PAL does is at our school.
Summer camp.
Right, they're all over
I would think
the
just any
town.
form of participation.
Any participation, yeah, it doesn't have to be at the school.
During the summer.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be at one of our
Nancy Reed and
schools,
Warner.
right. It's 10%, it's per,
They don't have to.
no, because if you think about all the other entities that are getting services, they're outside of the building, they're not in our buildings.
The way that the policy reads is that it's 10% or more of the Torrington Public School students, not 10% of their enrollment. Right?
Oh, 10% of the.
10% of
oh,
our
okay,
students.
okay.
Is how the
policy reads.
But I think if you want to consider making your concerts available to kids, right, I would think that would.
That could fall in that,
Throughout the
right.
course of a year,
So
in
far-
a cumulative way.
Mhm.
So,
Student
in other words, you're
population
saying
is
that if
3,800,
the-
like
if the
380
kid is in elementary
throughout
school
the
and
year.
comes to one of our concerts,
throughout the year.
because what we do now is 12 and under are free.
Yeah.
We don't charge for kids.
Okay,
I don't have any records on me, but I think the last concert we gave, our Christmas concert, we had 11 kids that came in that they account for the tickets and they have to have a ticket. So I know 11 kids came in, 11 students under 12.
Yeah.
If that's what you're getting at, because that would be 10%, you know,
Mhm.
if you're counting that, but. I
No,
like it.
10% of our population, we have 3,800 students, so.
Right, but it's, the way it reads, it says, oh, really over the course of a year, so you have how many concerts a year?
We give a concert each quarter.
Yeah,
Okay,
so.
So if they were to allot 400
Pass out
tickets.
100 free tickets to students every concert, and you've covered the requirement for students. Whether they come or not is their issue.
Exactly.
You've
Right.
passed out the
Exactly.
tickets.
Well, that's like
Right.
PTO and Booster Club too,
You've made
right?
it
Like you could
available.
offer something to everybody, but you don't know who's gonna come, but you've offered the opportunity to everybody, so I think.
I could work on that. A lot of that depends on our venue. For example, if we play at the Nancy Marine Studio Theater.
Right,
uh,
it's smaller.
right, so,
You know, it's, we don't have to hammer out the details right now,
Yeah.
but just have, knowing that we have options and that we can talk about where to go from here.
Yeah.
Dean has his hand, go
I
ahead.
do have a question, Sue, on your interpretation of this.
Am I reading it
That's
wrong?
how I read it, but if you have a different, go ahead.
The organization has to service 10% or more of the Torrington school population during that school year.
No.
So the organization, and I'm just, not for these guys, but just in general, if we're talking about policy, if I have an organization that doesn't run such a big program, let's say,
As big as PAL or Ed.
yeah, and even this, so you're saying they have to service 10% of the total population of the school, or 10% of their organization, whatever the function they're doing, has to be Torrington Public School students? I'm reading it as if I'm running a 100-person organization right now,
Then
10 of them have to be Torrington
kids.
Public School.
That's not how I read them.
Not 10% of our entire,
Services 10%.
because if you don't have that organization, how are you gonna service 10% of
If
how
you
many
have a
kids do
small
we have?
organization, we have 3,800.
3,800, so that's a very,
But
I think the policy is ambiguous enough
I
to
was
where
just gonna
we
say.
need to,
Yes,
and
yes.
Okay.
we need to have conversations about it, and it's ambiguous enough in your favor,
Yes.
honestly.
Yes.
Yes, it's ambiguous enough, it's not clear, really, if you're looking
And I
at,
said that to you last week.
Yeah,
that,
it's kinda-
You know, some
right.
things have fallen through the cracks. It's very, very.
yeah. So we'll definitely, it's on our radar, just
Appreciate that a lot.
it's 10%.
keep doing what you're doing. I don't know, but you're not gonna get like fined or anything for not paying an invoice, so just, don't worry about that.
I have the last bill sitting on my desk.
Okay, yeah, just wait till we'll be in touch. Ellen,
Unless you come back.
Yeah, we'll hammer it out and figure out really what the
Hold on one
intent
second.
was.
We could let that go so we
When
can
it
get
was
through it.
originally drafted.
Okay,
Yeah, even when I read it, I was just like,
yeah.
did they really? I mean, and I've sat on boards, so we do policies a lot.
Yeah,
I have in the past, and it's gotta be kind of like direct, it's not be like in a gray area. I
Right.
wonder what are you trying to say?
right, and it's a little gray, so,
And we have fallen through the cracks, it was us, we have fallen through the cracks.
yeah.
But thank you, I
Okay.
guess if there's any other questions.
I think that's it for now. We'll talk about it some
Yeah,
more, but
you guys-
do you have anything else for them? No,
Thank
okay,
you.
all right, okay,
That-
thank you so much.
everybody.
It was nice seeing you, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Tell Gary we were here.
We'll tell him. Okay, go ahead, Ellen.
It says 10% or more of Torrington Public School students during that school year. It's not per building, it's
Right,
students.
so think about, to Dean's point, you have an entity that has 50 members, and you have an entity that has 1,000 members. It doesn't make, the equality isn't there for PAL versus,
380
Torrington
students,
Symphony.
you would need to be
do we even have that many
doing
students in
something
our
for an
band?
org.
Go ahead, Kim.
I don't think that's.
I'm just going back to recollecting when the policy was adopted.
Yep.
And I think that was the intent behind why we were giving it to them for free, because it was servicing such a large number of our students.
Okay.
That was the intent behind it and the spirit behind it.
Yep.
So for a
Right.
smaller organization that's not servicing a large number of our students.
Yep.
They would fall into that next level. I think
Right.
that was the discussion
Right.
that was had at the board
But
level.
for a
back then.
nonprofit to have to come up with $5,000 a year to pay us to use our buildings,
So that's
they don't make
that's the
money.
number 4 that says activities are nonprofit organizations. Just that was the
Right,
intent
but I
here.
mean, and that's where it
But
goes
certainly the
into
board has discretion to.
where it says the organizations here on the fee schedule. Page 3, the bottom of page 3, page 7 of the handout, category and fee. So where it says school-sponsored programs and events, no rental fee or associated cost. Activities, school-related, no rental fee. When you get down to town department and agency activities and activities of nonprofits, it's associated costs may apply, which I think gives discretion to the board to consider who we're going to charge and how we're going to charge them.
Okay.
That's my opinion. I'm
This
just,
has been happening since 1961.
right. We haven't charged them in 40 something, I know.
I can't even.
Jeff has
50
something
something years.
posted in the chat.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff, I can't see. Go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff posted in our chat, it's 10% of our student body, not
That's what I
10%
recommend.
of group. Sorry, delayed message on plane. Its intent was 10% of 37.
Right, we kind of landed on what the intent was. We're just, some of us are saying we don't agree with the interpretation of that or the way it's worded. In that, again, this fee schedule, the associated costs may apply, leaves the door open. If I were on the other end of this, I would say, there's your ambiguity. Kim and then John, sorry. Go ahead, Kim.
No, at the top of page 3, item number, or letter E, and Dean pointed this out last week.
Okay.
That also opens the window for the board to make an exception.
And we talked about that when the policy went into place.
So I think the board had discretion to use its judgment.
Right.
And that's outlined in the policy, that the board can do that.
And I know Ed was very specific when this came up. He voted no, I think, for this policy, if I recall. He likes to do that. When everybody votes yes, he'll vote no. He wanted to be able to have the authority for the board to make an exception. John, go ahead.
Even if it's 10% of the students and they're willing to give us 400 tickets a year, 100 per concert, you don't have art unless you have someone experiencing the art. If you're out there in the middle of the woods playing the violin, you're not creating art.
Right.
You're just not.
Right.
You need to have somebody there. So the people who are in the audience, as we would call it, are just as much of the artistic experience as the people who are sawing away at their violins and cellos and violas and basses and whatever else.
Right, agreed. Kristen?
So, he was saying like 5,000 or 6,000 for the year or something like that.
I think
correct?
5,000, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for us to absorb that cost is a small price to pay to be able to give our students that experience.
Of the symphony.
To be
We haven't
invited
been
to
able-
that, or invited
right.
to play or practice, or however they want to be involved.
Even those 4 girls
Those
that
4
played for
girls.
us last week, to be
Yeah.
able to play in the symphony or have that opportunity.
I mean, they did the chorus concert last night, they played along with the middle schoolers.
Did they?
Yeah,
That's
they're
great.
beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
But I mean, $5,000 to give our students something, it's, I don't know.
Which we weren't getting from them anyway, because we didn't have this fee schedule in place until last year.
If they're willing to invite students to play with them, or even just
Like you said,
observe
John, the
practice
tickets,
or
give us tickets every quarter,
Tickets.
right? Anything else you want to add?
I just, and he's looking into this now, and they have had some participation with us in the past, but now it's gonna, put that forward. But again, I just want to go back to, so let's just say if it's a drama club, or an art club, or something of that nature that isn't as large as that, and they want to use our facilities, and they could help some of our students along the way. So I guess you go back to E with the exception there, where maybe that 10% could be adjusted, I'm guessing. So if they come in and they ask you for approval, then that.
It gives
could
us the
make an
option to,
exception.
yes, bring it
Make an
before the
exception
board, we have this discussion.
If you see a student value, learning value, or whatever value it is.
It's basically a free service we're
Right,
providing our students,
right,
if you look at it that way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think we.
Yeah, because we're getting things in, I just want to make sure that clarity
is key.
Is key, so.
There's not much, there's clarity, but I think we intentionally left it open so that we could make exceptions and have discussions like this. Kim, go ahead.
Just-
No, really, go ahead.
A drama club or an art club would be number one, a school-sponsored thing, so that.
Well, I
But what
think
if it was an
you're saying a
outside
private
source?
one.
What if it
Okay.
was your
Right.
drama
What if
club?
it's 5 Points Gallery or
Yeah,
something?
you know, an adult
Right.
drama club that wants to work with our kids
Mhm.
and run into the same
Right.
situation, that's all.
I think we could then look at that as something that we didn't want to start, but this has been going on in the Torrington Public Schools since before.
Yeah.
How do you say that? I can't.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Talk about
And
being
we thought at
grandfathered
that
in.
time, we thought, and Ed said to us, and I'm surprised he hasn't gone back and looked, he said, this is gonna come back to bite us. There's an organization out there that is, we haven't thought of, and this could be, I think this is one of those instances.
We also have to be careful who we exempt and who we don't.
Right. Of
That
course.
has to be.
Oh, absolutely, they have to be, there's certain criteria that has to be met, and I think anytime something like this comes up, it be brought to the policy committee first, and then you guys vet it and move it or not to the full board.
And they're also willing to make concessions and do what is necessary.
They sound very
Yeah.
open to whatever we are gonna ask of them. Yes,
On page 4, after 6, associated costs shall include, this is the last sentence, rental fees or associated costs otherwise applicable be waived by the superintendent.
Or his or her
Designate,
no, we could have
If it's
avoided this
deemed
whole
to be-
conversation.
If it's deemed to be in the best interest of the school system and or the town.
Right.
So it's not that, do we have a waiver that anyone would sign?
We would have to make something, I think. Yeah.
Can be
You could
done.
write
Because
something up.
they would have to be charged, and then they apply for a waiver.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it could be added to the application so that it's not a separate document.
The other thing, just back to.
Maybe, he can just waive them, though. Without having, they don't have to apply for, it doesn't say they have to apply for a waiver. It just says he can waive them.
Deemed,
Right. He can waive them.
but wouldn't it be better
Right.
to have it in writing?
Well, yeah, I think once this is decided upon,
I was gonna
we'll
say, if we
have
could add it to the form, that would make the administrative burden
easier,
not as
okay.
complicated, I think.
All right,
another-
whatever you,
That's,
you want
we can
to
work
whip
on that.
something up. There you go.
And I think I heard Harris
Like it's
say he
brownies or
was,
something.
he was open to coming in and being a guest conductor at our high school
Yeah.
and our middle school.
Yeah,
So I mean,
which is huge.
that's another way to
A
touch lots of
professional
kids.
conductor
Yeah.
for the orchestra
Yeah.
like that. Mhm.
He did that a few times a year. Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
that'd be fantastic for these kids.
Mhm.
Anything else? Ellen, Kristen, John, Bill?
No, we're done with this one.
Everybody- yes.
Move to the next one.
So if, are we all on board? You guys want to move this to the full board for discussion?
do we
and
have to
vote?
move it to the full board for discussion, or have we? That would be my
With a
question.
recommendation that they approve of, what we understand is a waiver process.
Right.
I thought we
And then
were
you guys can
saying
work
they
out
were
the
servicing
kinks.
10% of our, that's why I'm asking. I thought we were
If
saying
they're
that they're
servicing
servicing 10% of our
10%.
students, a waiver's not required, and we don't have to,
Are they
the
meeting
board
the
doesn't have to
criteria?
take
And
any
I could
action
go
on
along
this
with
one.
that too.
Right.
I
Either
could-
that's why
way,
I
if
don't
it's gonna
think-
be
I
the
mean, I
100
think if-
tickets, or I think we're
Yeah.
all on the same page that we want to be able to let them use the facility.
So
We'll
I
just
think-
figure out the
And
how.
we figured out a way.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I'm gonna leave that up to you, but I don't think the board has to take any action if we're finding a way for them to meet the
Oh,
criteria of the
true,
policy.
okay.
That's what I'm
Right,
saying.
Robert?
So it's up to you, though,
rules?
but, whatever you.
Ellen's not happy.
What's your
I am,
preference?
Ellen isn't.
What's your preference, Ellen?
To me, it's changing the policy, unless it's in writing.
What are we,
In writing, that
Just-
that's what they're gonna do to, how do we?
Oh, so you're
what do we
talking
do,
some
like,
kind
for
of
PAL
an
to
MOU
assure
with
that
them?
they're-
Registration,
A sign up with them, right?
sign up registration.
Yep,
Okay, so that's the backup for
What
proving
they're
that it's
doing.
where's the
Yeah.
backup here?
And
to
whether it
prove
be-
that it's
the backup
10%.
here.
Yeah, what would be the backup?
Well, if you want, I mean,
The
we could
backup
talk
could
about the
be a letter-
10%, or we could talk about page 4, where Michael can just waive the whole thing.
The
And let them-
backup could be something from them stating that this is what they're gonna do in the letter.
Which I'm sure their board would do.
Yeah, we could request that.
It feels like number 4 is easier than the 10%, to
Right.
be honest. because-
It does. If you-
Because the way I'm hearing it is if anybody comes in and offers 400 free tickets,
You get the facility.
facilities.
Right, we don't want that.
We don't want,
Right.
like, that would be my, precedence always, my thing. So the 4 looks easy, you could just say, yeah, they've been doing this for such a long time.
Right.
They could have it, and you could write a little memorandum, and you're gonna come in, but you don't even have to. But-
Right.
But I think 4 is more straightforward and sensible to
It is. Yes, sorry.
But they've still gone through the whole process of applying for the facility and everything else.
Right, they have.
Whereas a group that just came in that we didn't want to use the facility wouldn't pass that screening.
Right.
But then that group could also say, oh, you let them do it.
They could
How come
scream
you're not
all they
gonna let
wanted
me
to,
do
and
it?
then
They don't
I
meet
mean,
the
you have to
criteria.
cover your
If
bases
they don't
both
meet the
sides.
criteria, they don't meet the criteria though. Right?
Yes, but you
Yeah, I
have
know, you're
to
right.
think of both sides, that's all I'm saying.
So Kim, and you're from an HR perspective and what you were just talking about, you
So I
don't
feel
think we
like-
need to go.
I feel like even whether you do it the way Mark suggested it or what we talked about, any way you cut it, I think we're following it through the policy, so I don't think it has to go to the full board. That would be my thought, is that either we're gonna say that Michael as the superintendent or a designee is going to grant a waiver, or
based on
we're gonna
X, Y,
say-
and Z.
Right, so one or the other is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make that assessment with Michael.
Mhm.
He would, follow that language on page 4 and determine that assessment. We'll work with Marissa to add something to the application so that we can add a section on that. In this case, they've already submitted their application.
So you could
So
just
we'll
put an
do
addendum to
something, yeah, we'll
theirs.
put something on with, an addendum to their application
Ellen.
that says that the fee has been waived, based on that page 4 in this policy.
Okay.
But to me, it doesn't feel like the board has to take action, but I would leave that.
But
I would agree,
But
but-
does the board want some sort of a commitment from this group? Is that what?
I think Ellen does. I think in writing.
I think it should be documented, yes, just like it is for any other group.
But it's not. We don't have a document from PAL saying what
Well, but you
services they
have-
provide.
If
You're
requested it.
projecting what these people are gonna do, so I think Ellen has a point, that since they haven't done it in the past, their
Get something.
letter saying that they will
Saying
be
the
doing
opposite.
it
I
in the
thought-
future.
Okay.
I thought Mark was saying that
That makes sense
Michael was
to
gonna
me.
grant
but it
the
still
waiver,
doesn't
we
have to
weren't
go
gonna meet
before the
that,
whole board.
Right.
because we didn't want to do that.
Right.
That's
I would
that's
agree.
what I was saying.
Yeah.
I know, I just want to make sure I'm
What were you
clear so I
saying?
can report
That we
back,
go with 4.
because-
Yeah.
Michael provides a waiver. There's no explanation either. We're not setting any precedent by putting it in outlining, you have to meet X, Y, and Z, or this organization did this, therefore we're giving them the facility at no charge, rather than just saying the superintendent at his discretion granted a waiver to this organization that's been using our services for, our facilities for 65 years.
And all I'm saying is it should be documented.
To say that
That's the
Michael's providing a
reasons.
waiver.
Right, so that if,
So then that's probably, then
You know what I
let's go
mean?
that route, yeah, number 4, right, page 4. That,
well,
and
the
then,
explanation of associated costs shall include, so it's the paragraph under 6.
right, yeah, it's the last sentence.
Yeah.
That he's providing a waiver to the Torrington Symphony, who's been using our facilities for 65 years, without incident, period.
Is there any
Well, I
other
think
group
it should
that
also-
remotely that's been using our
No.
I think it should encompass the 10%. Like
I don't, if he's
kids are
providing a
invited
waiver, it
students-
doesn't have to encompass the
Exactly.
10%.
It's 2 separate things.
Right.
But we also do probably in that waiver, something about the summer custodian though, because they were doing
They
that
were
before.
paying them, right,
Yes, so
and I'm
that
sure
should
they'd be still
continue.
willing to pay
Yeah.
them, right. I'm sure they would be willing to do that. Ellen, I think they're separate things. It's not, you can't say Michael's gonna provide a waiver based on what we've talked about, and then say, but you still have to meet the 10%. It doesn't.
So he's providing a waiver then.
Right.
In your instance, he's providing a waiver because they've used our facility for so many years.
65, without incident, right? And they
Will
also.
continue to pay for the summer.
It will continue to pay for the summer that they use, and they're also, they've come in a couple times and conducted different things with our symphony players apparently, so if he continues to do that, I don't think we need to build in what they're going to do if we're giving them the facilities based on a waiver. It doesn't make any sense.
I just want it to be clear so that in the future, when none of us are here, and you look at
This
the
isn't gonna be
policy
clear until
that-
we change this policy. It won't be clear until we
Okay.
change the policy language.
Because that's my next question.
Yeah.
If somebody tomorrow, next meeting, walks in
Right.
with the same request, are they going straight to Michael, or are they coming to the board, and Michael's gonna act on the board's recommendation, or is Michael gonna make the decision on his own?
Okay, with the understanding that we're gonna change the policy and spend hours more talking about it, could we just get
Move
Michael
past
to
this,
give the
yes.
waiver for the time being?
I would say yes.
Okay.
If the rest of you, Bill, and Kristen are on the committee, so if you're comfortable with that, then that's what we will ask Sue and Kid to do, is have a conversation with Michael about issuing a waiver.
Angels dancing on the head of a pin, yes.
And then we can have further discussion. You guys, when Gary comes back, this is all his, you guys can have a discussion about the policy overall.
Well, we can do it.
Okay. All right. Anything else? No? Okay.
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
In John world?
I'm sitting here like dumbfounded, I don't even know.
It's one of the old medieval theological discussions. How many angels can dance on the head of a pin? There's absolutely no way to resolve it, but they argued about things like, did Christ own his own cloak, for instance?
Let's not even.
You know, no.
We go back on this.
I just wanted to know what it meant.
It's a phrase in the popular language to discuss something that you could discuss ad infinitum.
Ad nauseum, that we're so good at doing.
But
Right.
there will be
do
a
know how to-
future clarification on this policy.
Absolutely,
Okay.
that's on you guys. Review facility use forms, I don't think we need,
No,
was
that
that
was-
part of all of this, right?
Yes.
The reference, school facilities, the nepotism policy, is that something new?
That is, so for the history, for the new members of the policy committee, we spent many years going over a crosswalk, comparing all of our policies that we had in our current policy index to all of the policies that Shipman and Goodwin had that were recommended policies in their model policy index. We had gone through all of those policies and really made sure that we had all those policies. This nepotism policy is the one policy that we did not review, so I think at Ellen's last meeting, we said, let's bring it forward. So just to close out the crosswalk, this is the last policy that exists, other than there's a policy on pool safety, which we don't have a pool, so it was not relevant to us. But outside of that, we have brought all of the policies from Shipman forward. This policy is not required by law, which is why it was not one that we brought forward before. But
it's
just
good to have,
in the
especially in a
interest
small
of, completing our crosswalk work, we're bringing, exactly. At one point in time, I think there were people that were on the board that would have been impacted by this policy,
Yes.
but
But no longer.
No
So
longer
let
right
me,
now.
to that note, if there's, so it would just be that board member would have to recuse themselves, which they have done in the past. It doesn't preclude them from serving as a Board of Education member.
It actually does.
It does.
It's for immediate family members.
Okay, so.
If you read, which is part of the reason what you like, yeah. So there was, if you look on, it's page 18, under prohibitions on hiring, it says no immediate family member of a board member or any other district level administrator shall be hired to any position of employment. So,
Okay, so that's not an issue for us anymore.
no,
It's
not
an issue
under
anymore,
the
right?
immediate family definition.
Okay.
This is hired, it doesn't say existed. So it's hired going forward.
Right, so like,
Oh, you're asking if there could be grandfathered situation?
Not grandfathered, but this just says hired. So as of the date of the policy, they're hired, they can't be hired. What if they're already?
Well, that's grandfathering.
Right, that's
Right,
grandfathering.
yeah, I mean,
Grandfathering,
They've worked for 20 years in the district and they're family members.
Right.
Probably. I think it's interpretation. I mean, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
until very recently, we had board members, sitting board members who had immediate family members on staff. So it would have, as Kim said, it would have impacted several of our board members. Yeah. But again, it's really the
Okay,
board.
so it's saying that you cannot be on the board if, in this case, your husband.
Correct.
As a teacher.
Correct.
Okay, So it would seem like this is a bad policy then. In a small town like this?
Everybody's related to
Yeah,
everybody. It's up to the board what you want to do.
No, I wouldn't even want to talk about this. I think it's ridiculous.
I just want to make sure
Can we?
cousins, sister-in-laws, those are okay.
Well, the definitions are right under the definition.
I'm
And I didn't hire you.
No, the definitions are under the definition. So there's immediate family, there's relative, and then there's familial relationship, and there's different restrictions and guidelines on each.
Well, I know.
And
Yeah, we're
again,
good.
this policy is not required by law, so. I mean,
Given
whatever.
the vote, I would recommend
We
not.
gotta stay on our toes.
Whenever the policy committee, I'm saying, let's not bother.
I would concur with that.
Okay, there are 2 votes.
That was, what did you say, you're voting now?
Yeah, I don't think we need this.
I don't think we do either.
We haven't had an issue, if you think, when we've had board members that have family, direct immediate family in the district, they've recused themselves.
Correct.
I recuse myself from any O&G involvement because it's financial, it could impact me financially. Going
That's
forward.
according to our bylaws.
Right, Kristen, I think we practice the policy without having it in place, but if we limit ourselves to, how do we go back out in public and say, you can't run for a public office because your sister is a teacher in the district?
And has been for 15 years.
Right, I mean, how do we do, by implementing this policy, what are we doing?
Right.
I'm trying to think, off the top of my head, I know I have family in the district. I have a niece, actually, that teaches.
We fully expected this reaction.
Yeah, okay.
Which is part of the reason why we didn't bring it forward during the original crosswalk.
Oh, okay.
But I think
Okay.
we were asked to bring it
We
forward.
were,
Just
yes.
because it was.
'Cause it was there,
It was dangling
right,
out
to cover
there.
But it-
To talk about it.
It doesn't, so I'm hearing it, reading it right. It just says that if you are on the board, none of your immediate family members can be hired while you're on the board.
Or vice versa. If
Yeah,
you-
it's
right.
It is written so you
Yeah,
can't.
it's
you
written the
can't-
other way, and I'm going, sorry,
That's-
my own opinion, I live in this town, born and raised, like.
So you know
seriously,
everybody's
yeah.
related
Yeah.
somehow, some way,
Somehow.
right? They are.
Yeah,
I just, I don't.
No, we understand, and I think
What do you guys, Bill, you 3 or no, Ellen?
No, it's no.
I'm not on the committee.
No, but just your thoughts as a board member. You don't have an opinion now as a board member?
No, no, I'm saying I don't think we need it.
Okay, good, all right.
Yeah, no,
All
that,
right.
we were just
perfect.
trying to close out the
Good,
crosswalk.
no, that's
and
good, at least we
I think
covered it, and-
I think when we had shared the end of the crosswalk, we had identified that we hadn't brought that policy forward, and I
Yeah.
think we were just asked to bring it forward to kind of close out the crosswalk.
Yeah, and we didn't want to make any
Yeah.
assumptions on behalf of this committee, right? I mean, that wouldn't
Right.
have been professional on our
Sure.
part
Right.
to just say, oh, we're not gonna share this one.
Right, and I think if somebody didn't recuse themselves, we all know so many people in town, we could call them out on it, say, you can't be voting on this, like that kind of thing, and.
Can't, they have to
Sure.
decide themselves whether they want to recuse themselves or not.
Because you don't have to recuse yourself,
You
because
don't, you're right.
in the case of
But-
a board member, it's 300-something teachers. So it's not like you're.
But still,
an
and
individual
I think in
benefit.
good faith, if your husband is up for a raise and you're voting, you shouldn't be voting yes on that contract.
If you don't feel like it.
And that was never done. We've had that in the past, and the individuals have always recused themselves in that instance. But.
I agree. No, I think the board members have been, in my experience over the last 6 years, even with the consent agenda, people have recused themselves when someone
Exactly, when
in their family was
appointed to
on the
something,
agenda.
right?
So I think,
Yep.
I agree. Everybody has been
Very
very
upfront
respectful
and honest.
about that.
Yep. Okay. That's it. Hold on, sorry, John, I lost my page. Topics for future meetings. I'm gonna leave that for Gary. Comes for the good of the order.
Nice meeting, very,
Informative.
very informative.
Dean? Marissa?
I'm excited for more talk about policy or facility use.
Yeah. Yeah, all of us are.
I was gonna say, that's the
Josh.
topic for future meeting.
No? Is Jeff still on? No?
I think he was just sending in messages.
He's on the
Oh.
I don't think he's actually.
Oh, okay. Hillary?
Thanks
Welcome.
for letting me
Yeah.
join. I'm excited to be a part and keep moving forward.
Good. We're excited to have the admins joining all the subcommittees too. Sue?
Thank you for joining Hillary. Yeah, no, great meeting. Thank you very much, Sue.
Okay, Kim, thank you, Sue. Thank you, welcome, Hillary. I'm excited for you to be on the committee and facilities use, obviously topics for future meetings.
Yeah,
That's a good one, thanks,
But
Kim.
thank you.
Good catch.
Yes.
Joanne?
Good meeting.
Ellen? Nothing really to me.
Welcome, Hillary. Good to see you here. Look forward to having you with us.
Phil? Good meeting, thank you for chairing and Gary Stead, Sue, and welcome aboard, Hillary.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned, 7:50.